Hello, Venus Angels. Welcome back to Venus Cove, a show about all things astrology, coming of age, and really anything that pops up into my brain. I am your host, August. Man, I have been going through it, for real. I have been very sick the past week. I think this is week 2 now, and last week I was so much worse that I just could not get up on the mic and record myself. Whatever's going on out there, folks, angels, cover up. I think we're gonna have to put our masks back on because this has just been insane and painful. I have not had chest pain like this since I was a child, so yeah, just be careful out there. So, I was thinking, the new year is right around the corner, and if anything that this season has taught me is to really work through my own rhythm, really just dive into my flow. I kind of mentioned that in the last episode. And so, all month, despite being sick, I have also learned a lot of things about myself. And the truth is, oh my God, my dog won't stop walking. She has really noisy paws. But anyway, so some things that I've learned with myself, I really enjoy being on the internet. It's fun, and I want to keep it that way. I want to make it not so performance-y, and I feel like a lot of people are also quitting that performance, look good in everything type of thing, and we're just becoming more candid, and I feel like that's making us to better people, more real, authentic people. It may not be pretty and cute all the time, but I feel like we're done with the pretty and cute, we're ready to just be ourselves and come as we are and not care if we're accepted or not, because I feel like, and this is just me, but I really feel like a lot of people are understanding that some people like you out there exist. There's always a group of people that exists that are just like you out there, and that you don't have to change or morph or anything to fit in anymore. And I love that. I really feel like that's really good for the human soul, for the human society, the human culture. That I feel like will just allow people to really be themselves, whether it's weird or quirky or, whatever. We're just a bunch of living things on a planet, and we move on. We just move on. And so with that being said, I have tried with this podcast to obviously try to make it a weekly thing, post here once a week. And I'm really grateful that I have been able to put it out in other streaming platforms too. But I think I'm going to be honest with myself. 'Tis the season. And which I mean Sagittarius season. Sag is such an honest baddie. And I am unfortunately going to have to go back to posting once a month again, just like how I started in the beginning of the year. It's simply just a lot easier for me and less pressure for me to post once a month instead of weekly. I'm able to balance out other things that I have to do. Also, I don't know if I've mentioned this. Actually, I think I have mentioned this just very slightly, but I am in school. I'm a grad student, and next year is my last year. So I know it's gonna be very challenging to be posting once a week here. So I just want to make sure everyone, including myself, has the right expectations that I can only be able to post once a month again. Because I was getting overwhelmed near the end of this month, and it might be because I'm sick too, but I was getting very overwhelmed that I was posting every week, and I loved it, don't get me wrong. I always have something to say. However, it has been tough. Yeah, that's all I could say. Like, it's just been tough to keep up, you know? And really, anything can happen, you know? I was thinking maybe of either making a new episode once a month at the end of the month instead and moving it to Sundays, or maybe doing it like the first Friday again, or the first Sunday of every month, and like talk about, you know, astrology and things like that. But then I was thinking the end of the month, because then I could talk about everything that happened at the end of the month: pop culture, myself, astrology, like what did we go through, kind of like an overview, end of the month review of what went down and how we can prepare ourselves for the next month, you know what I mean, or the next season. Because sometimes you kind of just want to talk to someone. I don't know about you, but I know for me, sometimes I just want to talk to somebody about how my month went and like what I learned and like what went down, you know, like spill some tea. So yeah, and I still want to keep this as like a fun, girly community about, you know, astrology, about what's going on in pop culture. I love pop culture. What's been going on in the music world, what's been going on with fashion, what's been going on with the stars, what's been going on with, like, what's the theme of the month, you know. Ooh, or maybe I could do twice a month. One in the beginning and one at the end. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I'm in grad school and I need to focus. I need to put my all. It's my last year. So I want to do everything. I do, but I don't want to overwhelm myself, and I don't want to like burn out to the point where I'm just like, yeah, I'm not doing this podcast anymore. Because no. Matter of fact, I did have that thought in mind. I thought I was just gonna say my goodbyes for, you know, making this podcast this year, and then we're closing it out. And honestly, I wouldn't have been so upset, because at least I did this podcast for one whole year, and that is an accomplishment. You know, even doing it for 6 months, half the year, I think that's still an accomplishment. Whoever wants to do a podcast and they did it fully and successfully, I think that's honestly an accomplishment. Maybe it wasn't weekly, maybe it wasn't twice a week, maybe it was once a month, you know, but you stayed consistent for a whole year. Girl, come on, give yourself some props. So we're about 3 weeks in to December. I thought it was 2, but I just checked my calendar and this is the 3rd week of December. That's crazy. And I want to do like a little recap about what's been going on, because every month has been insane, believe it or not. Like, I don't know if you've seen this reel or this TikTok that's going around when like they kind of recap what's been happening throughout all of 2025. It's so funny. Justin Bieber is like the first one in that clip. And then it's like Katy Perry going up to space. I completely forgot she even went to space. And I didn't even realize it was this year. This year was long. This year was very, very long. The beginning was rough. We had a rough beginning. And honestly, I mean, Capricorn, you know, she doesn't give up. She's always working. So it's like, of course, we're going to have a rough start to the year, which again, it's something that we have societally agreed that January just so happens to be the beginning of the year. I don't fully believe that. However, I still participate in it and just like vibe. But astrologically, if you want to like change perspectives, astrologically, the beginning of the year is April, because April is like the start of spring. It's Aries season. You know, the earth is growing again. Flowers are starting to grow, bloom. It's about to get sunnier. So that's my new year, spiritually. It just makes so much more sense to me that a new year would start when literally the earth is starting to grow and bloom again, rather than the dead of winter, the middle of winter. But I digress. But going back to this month of December, I have weirdly decided to become more social. Not meeting anyone, not like in person or anything, but just online. Because I've been sick and I haven't been able to go out, I've just been texting everyone and decided to go on new apps like Bumble and seeing if I vibe with anyone. I want to start making new friends. I want to start, going out with new people and just have a good time, But it's solely been talking. Like, I literally have not gone out with anyone. And the one thing that I've loved about doing this? It's that I'm really learning what type of personalities mesh well with me, which type of personalities I do well talking to and working with and hanging out and all of that. Like, it's been very eye-opening that I've kept it on a strict program with friends, possible romantic pursuiters, and really just feeling how my body feels, like when people say certain things or don't say certain things. And wow, it's just been very eye-opening, because when I get better and I have time to hang out with new people, I know that it's not going to be a waste of time. Like, I'm almost certain I know how it's going to go. I know how we're going to mesh. I know how things are just gonna be, and I know how I'm gonna feel, and I know how I'm gonna handle it. And it's just so refreshing to like not just pick someone just to pick someone. Like, I'm understanding how some people put effort and how I like it and how I do the same thing, like, I don't know what you call this. Like, I don't know how, like, to explain this, but I think it's really about understanding who you are and what feels good to you and for you. And I've just been getting so good at, like, saying yes to people who really feel aligned with me and saying no when you just know that they're not gonna put the same effort you put, And that's with friendships and romantic relationships. Sagittarius season is all about being super real with yourself and with other people. And I'm so here for it. Like, if there's anything that this sickness, this flu or whatever's inside me has been given me, it's learning more about other people and about myself and how we mesh. And to be honest, and maybe this is for everyone truly, but a lot of people do not mesh with my personality. Well, first things first, I had to figure out what type of personality I even have to know this, right? I think that's the first thing that people, like, need to know. And I don't think it's, like, examined enough or told enough to figure out as you're young or when you're younger. And to be honest, I don't know my entire personality yet. I'm just learning about myself. Like, I just turned 30 it was 2 months ago. I thought it was 4 months ago. What is wrong with me? No, 2 months ago. I just turned 30 and flirty and thriving. And yeah, like I'm still figuring out like this new person of myself. But what I do know is that I love asking people questions. I love getting to know them and observing how they answer the question. Yes, I'm interviewing you. But one thing I noticed too, and this happened with two people actually. One was actually in person, but like this was someone that I knew for a long time ago, and like we're kind of neighbors, so but we've never spoken all our years like that, like a full conversation ever, right? And then one was someone I met on Bumble. And I noticed both of them had one thing in common that does not mesh well with me. And it is that they really enjoy answering my questions, which I appreciate. And they do not ask a lot of questions back. Yeah. I realized that I was very excited to learn about them, and I definitely did. But they did not ask many, if at all, questions back to me. And I realized this after I had no more questions to ask them. And I'm like, okay, well, what's next? I'm like, wait, I haven't spoken. I haven't said anything. They don't know anything about me. Which I think is kind of funny too, because it's like, well, now I have all this information about you, and I guess I'll stay a mystery to you. It's kind of funny. It's also kind of creepy because I remember I used to do that too. I used to talk about myself a lot to like people who were very, very quiet. And then I realized, oh shit, they know a lot about me now, and they probably have been like observing me this entire time. And I don't know shit about them. I don't even know what to ask them. It's interesting. Like I wouldn't want people to know a whole lot of stuff about me and I don't know a thing about them. That's an interesting position to be in, you know? Yeah, I would be very careful. Well, now I am very careful, but alas. But the point is, I realized that, you know, and funny enough, actually, before I say what I was about to say, I was trying to insert myself when, like, they were sharing things about them. I'm like, oh, yeah, me too. I you know, agree with this as well. I do this, and that. But I noticed the one that I was speaking to in person, they would interrupt me when I was about to say or share something about myself. So, you know, I don't really like... It's a bit, like, rude. It's a bit, like, I'm trying to say this politely, but the only word I can think of is a little bit self-centered, a little bit just kind of focused on them. It's giving Leo, you know, so I can't work with those personalities because I don't think it would ever get intimate on my end. Like, the focus would not be mutual. It would not be a mutual friendship. It would just be me listening to them like a therapist, you know? And I don't want that. I do not want to be anyone's therapist unless you're paying me. Angels never be anyone's therapist unless they're literally paying you. And then the person from Bumble, well, because it was through text, there was an indicator of me to figure out that they were definitely talking about themselves. Because after I stopped asking them questions, they asked me like one, right? And I answered that, and they didn't really say much about that. Like, they didn't go into it or, you know, start dissecting it, kind of like how I was dissecting their life, their hobbies, and so on and such. Yeah, there was nothing. Like, when I shared a bit about myself, there was no like, ooh, tell me more, like, you know, what do you do, this and that, you know what I mean? There was nothing. It was like, oh, okay, cool, nice. What do we do with that? What do I do with that? You know? So I don't know if it's the fact that they don't know how to like keep a conversation going, or they just are better at talking about themselves. I'm not sure. Or if they're really not interested in getting to know me. But I did give both a good amount of time. I gave the Bumble person a couple days, if not like a week. And it was just straight up talking about them, their hobbies and such. And then I gave my neighbor about 2 hours to show me what type of personality they have and like who they are and if they're considerate. And so I told my friend this, and she was like, honestly, with people like that, you just have to insert yourself in there and just talk about yourself. And I get where she's coming from, and I could totally see that. And I used to do that. But the truth is, at the end of the day, if I kind of have to like insert myself, I don't think you're a very nice person. I don't think you'd be a good friend to me. Like, for me, maybe to other people, sure. But for me, I would view it as like slightly selfish, and like I always have to try to get your attention. And I'm not trying to do that, because the friends that I have now, it's so effortless. We hear each other, we pause, we ask each other questions, and it's so mutual, and like I feel seen without like chasing them or like trying to grab their attention, is what I mean. But honestly, this comes with time and practice, because again, I wasn't always like this. I always liked to insert myself and share my story and all that, but there comes a time in a girl's life. Well, there comes a time in someone's life, I think, where you just don't feel like being accepted in every single space and every single conversation anymore. So you kind of just let people talk and let them show you who they are. And if you like it, you know, you keep going. And if you don't like it, well, now you know everything about them, or like most things about them. You have a good sense of their judgment and their character. And that's kind of what happened. That's exactly what happened in these two scenarios. I was about to kind of like push myself in there in the conversation when I realized, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just let you talk. And I'm gonna know a lot about you at the end of this conversation. And I realized I didn't like it, you know? I didn't hate it, but it wasn't for me. But again, there's some power knowing and learning about the person you're talking to, who's talking a whole lot more than you are. And even though it didn't align with me, at least now I know this type of personality exists, and that's the type of personality that I don't want. You know, I was intrigued. I was very intrigued learning about them and observing their energy and their vibe and the way they communicate. And oh my God, why is everyone honking right now? But I think that's what's the amazing thing about talking to people and getting to know more people. It's this. It's about learning what feels good, what type of people feel good, what type of people make you feel seen and heard, and also open up themselves to let you get to know them. And who can reciprocate that back, you know? And some people don't really care for this reciprocation. Some people really love being around people like that, where you just let them talk about themselves on and on and on, and they feel great. They feel complete, you know? There's people like that. There's people for everyone. There's really people for everyone. But those people are not for me. I really enjoy a mutual, balanced reciprocity in my potential friendships. So, the next time, angels, if you're ever out there looking for friends or romance, right? If they don't allow you to get a word in, fret not. They will show you and tell you exactly who they are. And that'll give you enough information to understand and process if this person is good for you in your life. If this person will make you feel good, will make you feel seen effortlessly, or not. But yeah, other than that, other than my little social experiments, I think I've just been vibing a lot more relaxed in Sagittarius season than any other season I've been in. I think this is the most relaxed I've been probably all year. And my newest obsession, celebrity-wise, would have to be Charlie XCX. Now, I don't know a lot about her, and she's not a new obsession. I was obsessed with her earlier this year too, but she's coming back. And the only reason I'm really obsessed with her is because she's so nonchalant. She's just so like effortlessly whatever vibes, and I'm loving it. I also feel like I find some similarities with her because she's in her 30s as well. And I feel like she has this weird, like, mature energy to her while also just being like herself and playful and artistic. Like, I find her to be very refreshing from like the other musicians out there right now. I absolutely love her music. Brat Summer forever. I don't care. It could be years from now. Brat Summer forever. But I also really love her color schemes. She wears a lot of black. Her hair is, well, it seems like it's curly, and my hair is curly. So yes, curly hair representation. We need more of that. I noticed that some of her lyrics are very personal, and I love when an artist can get, deep and personal like that and not just surface level. So I love that. Like, she really pours out her insecurities, which is so powerful and vulnerable and scary. So yeah, I love how brave she is and courageous, and it's beautiful. Like, wow. Like, really, it's just, oh my God. And I love how she dresses. I love her fashion sense. Like, it's also effortless, and like, I would say, and I could just be fangirling here, but I would say the way she like does her street style and just like dresses, from the pictures I've seen on Pinterest and stuff, I just have noticed that she's so much more laid back in her look and still just looks so cool. Like, she really just looks cool, casual, very like human, very just, she's not hardcore. She has her like favorite little staple pieces she wears, like her sunglasses, and she just moves on, Like, it's just so not put together, not so curated, not so performance-y, in my opinion. And I love that. Like, that's what I'm talking about. And that's what I want to go into 2026. Like, just not so performance-y. Because y'all, I know we're tired. I know I'm not the only one exhausted of dressing up, fixing my hair to look like so-and-so and all that. Makeup and everything. Like, I saw that Vogue makeup tutorial thing, like smudging your eyeliner and just going out like that, taking like 5 minutes to do your makeup. Like, girl, that is what I call an effortless queen. That is mother. That is mother. So yeah, she is my role model. For you, dun party for you, for you, for you. And you know, I really think that 2026 is gonna be better. I don't know about political wise, but everything else will get better. But that is my little brain rot, brain barf, brain puke, whatever, of the week. You'll have to excuse me because I'm still sick. But yeah, happy new moon in Sagittarius, angels. I hope that all your manifestations and all of your hopes and dreams come true. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your patience while I recover. If you want to find this podcast, you can find it now on YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. If you want to find me, you can find me on YouTube and TikTok as @AugustInVenus. Instagram is @MyLifeWithJohanna. And that's it. My name is Johanna, also go by August here at the Cove, and this is Venus Cove, signing off. Until next time, Venus Angels.